from the Workplace Ninja Summit in Baden. Smart talks, sharp insights, and stories worth sharing. This is the Workplace Ninja Podcast.
Hello, welcome back. We're still in Baden for the Workplace Ninja Summit 2025 and the last session of today, so last recording. So I'm really happy, so I can go to some drinks afterwards, probably. My name is Frans Oudendorp and I have Benno, Alex. How should we call you?
Call me however you like.
However you like.
That will work.
Alex Benoit,
Yeah.
Benno, co-hosting and helping me with the difficult questions for these smart guys on the table. So, who do we have? Sami, let's start with you. Short introduction.
Short intro, I'm not good at that, but my name is Sami Laiho. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the Windows OS since 2011 and a relatively new security MVP since 2024.
That's new.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
He's super proud at that.
yeah. And Fabian.
Yeah, I'm Fabian Bader. I'm also a security MVP in the Microsoft program as well as in Azure. And my normal business is cybersecurity architect.
Luckily. Yeah. And then we were talking about the topic, something like cybercrime. You did a session, Sami. So we agreed. Benno told me that we agreed on the topic. So, talking about your session, what do you try? Is that more or less the same as last year? Because we had on this was not in Baden. We were in Lucerne. We had probably the same conversation already. Is it changing? What does that mean for your session?
It changes every year. It is I like to see it as my kind of State of the Union talk, so it does change every year. But I do really like doing it also yearly, and I already heard from the attendees that they want to get this like 1 hour info on how did the last year, how did we do, how did the bad guys do, what do I see as emerging trends and what's going to happen in the future. So just like 1 hour, it's almost the same name for the session every year, but with new, more timely content.
But I think from this year on, we will continuously want to hear you at any conference talking about how the conversation with you and your digital agent, your digital bot are developing.
Yeah,
that was so fun, man. Maybe you can tell the audience what exactly you did and why we're, talking about you talking to yourself.
Yeah, so the history of this is just for the past few years I've been trying to follow on like how AI-based threats have made all social engineering a lot more difficult to detect. So we've kind of like yearly went through from a very static audio, first text only scamming, then audio only scamming, to video-based scamming, then automated video-based scamming, and now this like the latest evolution was a bot that I created of myself, and I had a conversation with it on stage, and it's like my wife just said that this growth is now exponential because it was really annoying when I would just be sitting at home with my computer watching my own sessions and laughing at my own jokes.
I love that, Sami. I love that you're doing it and that you do no secret about it.
No, I'm an only child. I always will go behind this curtain of being an only child. I mean, I'm used to this, having fun by myself, but then I already always do it. And someone asked me, is your session ready? And I always tell them that like my measurement is that if I, while I'm building the session, if I'm laughing at my own stuff, I know it's going to be good. So that's my measurement as well. I'm just last night at the room, I was like, this is going to be so freaking funny. So I honestly, that's how I do it. And now I kind of like, she said that when she saw that, she was like, oh my God, now you're talking to a virtual version of yourself that is giving you compliments on how you're doing.
That's how he started. He asked his digital twin to first of all giving him compliments and praising him. And he did that, let's say, for a couple of minutes. And at least to me, it felt like he was enjoying it.
Talk about only child.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that was a great idea. And I think really it showed the concept of how simple it is to build your digital twin, let's say, or your digital version of yourself that really looks like you, that is talking like you. I mean, the joke that he told was not so good, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But that is the only thing I think that where it can improve.
Yeah, I started by trying to do some comedy, so I asked I don't know how should I call him or it? I don't know.
I think it is
Let's
correct.
say
right?
Okay, so let's keep to it. It's a little bit less Skynet stuff if it's still it. Okay, so I asked it to tell a joke that Sami would enjoy, and then it's told some like really horrible combined hacker and dad joke that just like it didn't work at all, and then we switched to complimenting me, but that worked really nice. I really like that praise.
Yeah.
Maybe that is a good detection method, like just asking the other person on the call, hey, tell me a joke, and if it's like really bad, either the person is not funny and you should stop talking to them, or it's a scammer.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah.
But with that, idea, you opened the conversation and also made up a big point that was about deepfakes and how, the increase that we've seen in the last year. Maybe you can tell a little bit about, the slide that came after that and also, the big and major problem that we're facing in cybersecurity.
Yeah, so there's like a few points to this. One is, of course, the price of creating something, meaning that I did everything basically. Okay, the last ones that I did of the reporter who was saying that Finland has now invaded Switzerland or whatever, that was done with a paid subscription for VO3, but everything else was just built with free stuff.
Yeah.
So if you compare that to I'm just doing this for fun, but if someone wants to intentionally do this against a company, for example, they got the assets to do it. A very good demonstration on AI that you can see on some shows on TV, that demo costs $100,000 if you want to set it up. So, but that's of course way even better than that, and I think even that is really good that we saw today. So that's one thing. And the other point that you were asking about is the sheer amount of this. People see this as, or they question that whether this is still just like a show in a cybersecurity conference, but there were more than 105,000 reported AI scams. And Finland has now suffered a few very big ones, losses of more than €1 million on both of those hits. UK had one with over £10 million. So it is a thing. It's not just anymore a trick for the magician on the stage, but it's actually a real thing.
And I'm also adding to that perspective that, it took us, I think, 10 years to not be able to solve the CEO fraud in organizations. And this is now the evolution of CEO fraud.
This is exactly what it is. And Microsoft is doing something about it. We got these verified IDs, we got this, you have to first prove that you're a human being to your camera and all that stuff. Like there's technical efforts in trying to fix this. But the bigger problem is we can say that, like, as a company, if you call us, we need you to verify yourself. But then if we go to these more like soft situations where you have a parent that is talking to a child and the child calls in and asks for money because she's being harassed, you can't ask them to first do MFA and Face ID with Microsoft Entra ID before you're going to help them. So as long...
That should be funny.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, that's. But if you think about it, it's like everything is usually very easy to solve if we can solve it in our like enterprise context. But the criminals don't care. They will take the money from where they can, and currently, if it's threatening or using your kids, to be fair, there's nothing easier now to clone a kid's voice because they all want to do Snapchat. And you need like 2-3 seconds of audio from Snapchat, so it's very easily accessible. We were very good at protecting them, don't put your pictures online. But did anyone at that point tell them not to record an audio message? No.
And even with the pictures, I think, look at social media where we are. Some picture is almost out there for everybody, and that it's more than enough to generate some AI version of it now.
Absolutely. I actually did a demo also on a like now compared to previous years. I did a demo also on what AI can make from a still image, because now we always said that like you need to create your digital twin. We need some video material of you from certain angles and you twisting your head and whatever. But now like the amount of progress in 1 year is insane, because just give it a still image of someone from a newspaper or from probably a website nowadays, and then it can create that out of this material. So that also
I saw that last week. An example, there's a Facebook group, something Peter Dahlman showed me. There was someone who died, a picture of him was posted. Can you make some animated picture of it? And then 2 hours later or something like that, there was a moving picture, movie of that people, that person on that picture that was moving, that was doing actually stuff. So someone has died, but you get moving movie of that person. So really insane.
it is.
Is that for Fabian? Is that for you? What Sami is telling, is that for you the same experience also from a commercial perspective within Germany? Are there the same issues that are there?
I think it's not the big scale thing where everybody is currently scammed by an AI voice, but the scary thing is in many cases this is not necessary. So the attackers will always take the easiest route, and if that is just sending a Teams message or just sending an email or just calling the help desk like we saw with Scattered Spider, those guys, they didn't hack in through some 0-day whatever vulnerability. They called, they got a reset on the password, registered new MFA, and they were in. And from there they did ransomware and got millions of ransom money from that. So this is not yet that we have this full AI attack, but it's not necessary, and that is why we don't see it more used, I think, at the moment. But it's super important that we look at what is currently possible to get our defenses up, because if I now have Teams and Teams can detect something like, hey, this is looking odd, this is looking like something generated, and it can highlight this, that would be very important in the years to come when those attacks are more prevalent.
I think it was really a good point another security person did on Twitter, where he said that we should still understand that most of attacks today still start with a stab, and that stab stands for, now I'm gonna lose my own acronyms here, so oh my god, where's my S is now lost. Try, ask, buy. What is the first one? Jesus.
Try, ask, buy?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm missing the S here. I totally blacked out on that.
No worries.
No worries. But ask, try. I mean, you can just steal, ask, try. Steal, try, ask, buy. Steal, try, ask, buy. There it is.
Okay.
So get the either steal the credentials from someone, ask the credentials from someone, just try whatever you can against something, or buy it when someone else has already gathered that for you. Yeah. So it's like I totally agree, and I think it's very important to emphasize that the AI is, again, that's the cool way of doing this. But like I always on stage, maybe not today, but like usually on stage I always say that we have to understand that our business is only so sexy that we talk about when you ask us. Right. We're the only ones who think that we're actually hacked by these like Mission Impossible characters coming from the ceiling and floating somewhere and using like laser guns to do this and stuff. I mean, like normally it's just like you take a knife and go to someone and give me your username and password or I'll kill you. If that doesn't work, okay, I'll kill your kids then. I mean, like and what people do not comprehend most of the time is the fact that they still do not really understand that we're facing criminals. Yeah. These are not the people who think like we do. These are the people who do the route of least resistance. Why work hard when you can work easy?
And this was a red line that you had in your talk that I really liked. You were also mentioning Cope being hacked for the second time. I think we all remember the first time where they got breached through a supply chain attack by Kaseya, an MSP provider. And what I really found an impressive information and piece in the slide deck was where you had that one chain, I would call it. I don't know if you can describe it better, but that explained what happened after the takedown of one hacker group.
Yeah.
How fast the whole industry is developing, and also new hacker groups coming up, and also the technology, or let's say maybe even we can call it infrastructure, so that we get that analogy for us IT folks a little bit better on point. That we say they kind of multiply and increase, but use the same method, and that, for example, is coming from businesses like ransomware as a service that basically, obviously, also came up on the market when, for example, these attacks that are evil back then did on Kaseya didn't pay off in a way that they thought it would be, and all that effort and infrastructure and all that smartness that they put in didn't pay off. And then they said, why should we do, why should we operate all that? That would be way better and would multiply way more than actually us running that attack against these organizations. So that's something that you guys, also you, Fabian, with your insights in SOC see a lot, that the technique more or less is let's say basically staying the same, but the different angles that you are also mentioning are varying.
Yes, definitely. So if we look at what we currently see out there, we had a few weeks ago this potentially unwanted application turning into info stealer overnight. And I think that was a change in how they currently did it, because for a long time this was not something that happened, but now they just did that, and it was like all signed application and everything. So this was definitely a shift in how they operated. It's more professional, more advanced, but the actual thing, like, hey, download this malware and we advertise it in Google and whatever, and you download it yourself and install it, this hasn't changed over the last 10 years.
Correct.
And if we talk about social engineering, let's go back to like Kevin Mitnick. That is what he did. He did social engineering, call telcos, and they were giving him info or access, and that's happening now again. So it's not like super changing in the ultimate way, but it gets more refined, it gets adapted, and it gets more advanced in that way that it's harder to tackle in a large scale. And if you now have criminals that operate the infrastructure in a business way, like, hey, I offer you this AETM server for a few dollars a month and you can just use it, this also gives like a complete new angle who will use that service. Because now you can just get this on some not dark web, there's like clear web chat somewhere, and you can buy it and use it, and you don't have to have technical expertise. It's just a regular scammer is now using that to make money.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. I spoke a lot about my country, and just some weeks ago I went to listen to a session by a good friend of mine who's working for the security for Supercell, and he showed us like statistics where actually like we are attacked as a country, yes, and we have our critical infrastructure, and banks get attacked and Supercell. It's like banks get DDoSed and Supercell. And then he showed like what the kids do now, because we usually always say that there is a financial motivation for everything, but I actually now for the first time saw something where I had to admit that there actually was no financial motivation. So you can
Maybe you need to explain what Supercell is.
Supercell is the company that builds Clash of Clans, for example. So our country's biggest gaming company, and was sold to China a few times already with 1.5 billion. Well, first with 1 billion and then 1.5 billion. So it's the biggest gaming company that we have. Now, I didn't understand the scale first, but to be fair, they have 200 million people playing on their servers every week. And what they did, he showed me a demo where you can download Clash of Clans, or this was probably what's the other game? The small characters walking around. My kids play this all the time, but I can't come up with
Minecraft?
No. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, one of the other games. So you can actually download a tweaked user interface, which is using the actual services that we play with. So they copied the source code, stole it, copied it, made the actual game, except on top of the normal game, on the left upper top corner, there is a button that says crash. If you click it, it automatically starts a DDoS attack against Supercell servers. Wow. So if you're pissed at the game and someone beats you, you just press that and just an automated system starts a DDoS attack against the gaming server.
I have to admit, I would have used that a couple of times in the last years.
Okay, who here never used AOL to kick somebody out?
Something's changed, but as said, the basics are really much the same. Like criminals, if new things don't work anymore, criminals go do it the old way it started. There's trusted sec chief research officer or whoever it was, he just said on some session that like you have to understand that every attack usually still starts with a phone call. Just call someone and ask them can you please run this app?
Yeah,
I work for you. I mean,
like this click fix thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, people searching for a solution, and hey, this is a super easy solution. Just type in that, and then it's solved. No, now you have an info stealer on your computer, but like people do infect themselves, and I guess we as an industry, we did a poor job like managing this in enterprises.
Correct.
And for like private people, this is a really big problem because we are not talking about advanced malware. It's just like scripts running in the background, but for them there is definitely no way to differentiate anymore. Is that okay or not to do? And of course we can always say don't click on something in an email you don't know, whatever, but let's be honest,
but don't you
this
think
is not how the
this is
social
way too
contract
simple
works.
I mean, we are having that conversation about all that shit, and we know how easy they bring up new services like the ones that you were just explaining. And on the flip side, when we're talking to, I don't know, society, to our families, to friends and everything, we still talk about don't click on phishing links and emails, right? So the whole conversation is I think missing about, and that's why I found your talk so valuable, although it was not super deep technical. It explains so many angles. We will for sure talk a little bit about vulnerabilities in a couple of seconds that you were again mentioning, the fun fact with the security tools and whatnot. But we're still talking about the super simple things, and even these are challenging for us. Whereas on the other side, we see a whole industry. I mean, there's always that saying that if cybersecurity would be a country, it would have the third largest income compared to all states, behind USA and China. I mean, that's the business. That's the market that we're foreseeing. It's really a bummer.
What's in your opinion? We're talking about AI and deepfake and all that kind of stuff on the attack side. What should companies do with AI on the defense side? So Microsoft, all the security, the customer partners are doing it. But what about the social media stuff, like WhatsApp, like Facebook, like whatever? Because the attack factor on enterprises is probably a bit more secured than the social stuff for families, but I think that one is a bit harder to defend.
Oh yeah, and if you think about like Facebook, like especially like WhatsApp or like LinkedIn, for example, with all their like announcements that they're adding AI and they want to use your data for learning and all that stuff, it's I think there's a big problem. Now I feel a little bit like Altman himself from OpenAI when I say that I think we don't even ourselves really know what we're facing.
Yeah.
Honestly, because there's like we currently only have like this on-off switch. We can say we either give you everything or we don't do anything. There's like no middle ground yet.
There's nothing in between.
Yeah. So it's very difficult. And I was just on WhatsApp just before I came here. A friend of mine works for a Finnish company, and he was asking me like, how is there some? We have a group. There's only a few IT people in that group. So for the IT guys, how can I extract quite well formatted values from PDF files into Excel? And I answer like automated. My answer is, I think there's a way of you using that as a source for Excel, but maybe it's just easier just to push it through AI, because that's what I do with my, like if I have like I get a statement from the hotel, I tell AI to just take the values, change them to euros, skip that column, and I get what I want. But that's just my personal stuff.
Yep.
But then I'm like, I already press send, and then I have to instantly send another message to my friend like, hey, if this is company data you're talking about, stop. So I think it's an unknown in many ways. If Mr. Altman, honestly, he said that we don't really know how the AI works. Like, how are we supposed to know how to defend it?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and then, like I said, I mean, one of the large points, major points that I think were in your presentation as well, was about vulnerabilities. Maybe these, what was it, 4 numbers that you had on that one slide? Or was it 2 hours? 2 hours?
Yeah.
Help me with that.
Yeah. So 2 hours, the average time it takes from the initial breach to full domain admin or global admin, around 180 days. Constantly growing now. Google says it's 230 days, but average half a year is the dwell time, which means the time they spend in the environment researching or just dormant before they execute the attack. And 5% was the amount of victims that go public with the breaches.
Yeah. But still, we see so many, vulnerabilities in companies, organizations. Fabian, what's your take on that? I mean, is really posture management? Is that? We've gained more insights for sure. We have maybe even become better in addressing the risk because we know more about it. But I mean, has there anything really changed, or is it just cosmetics?
No, I think it definitely has changed some, but in the end we come back to your comment on how could we not, like, with all that money, solve like basic problems in there. And the problem is we have companies that are running a business, and installing a patch for us is installing something very important on the server, but for the business this is not really that important. And they have to make sure that their business is running, that there's no interference. So it's not only about, yes, there is a vulnerability and that could be exploited. It's other factors that come in, maybe too less people, actually staffing is not in the right amount to actually do that on scale, like years of backlog into actually doing that stuff. So vulnerability management is not sexy, as is like with every basic, it's not sexy, but it's the thing that keeps you in the end safe, fairer than the rest, and that is where you have to go at the company at the moment. Just be safer than the next two near you. That already helps, and I think Microsoft has done a good job with having like this security score recommendations. It's a bit of these gamified, hey, you have now 70, 80%, something like that. But this gives you as a company at least an idea where you can improve, where you can go. And they have put in a lot of basics like MFA, whatever, in there that help you get more secure, and even vulnerabilities. But yeah, in the end, it's like if you have a machine that costs $1 million and there's an operating system on this machine that is no longer supported, you don't throw that away because Windows XP is running on it. You cannot update it because you don't get support anymore then. So what will you do? You have a Windows XP running in your company, and for large companies this is like not one machine but hundreds, and this gets problematic fast. I think in Germany we had this advertisement from the German rail company Deutsche Bahn,
yes.
where they were looking for somebody who can administer Windows 3.11.
Yeah.
And this was not like 15 years ago, this was like 2 years ago. So they actually have some system in their IT that still needs this old operating system for some reason, and they could not replace it so far, it seems. Well, maybe they now have done it, but it was really like, okay, we have 2023 and this is the ad. Okay.
I was just in Vienna. It's relatively near from here, not that far away, so this might be interesting. So I had a person in my class who was we were talking about UE, well, let's say ring -2, so like firmware, UEFI, BIOS level stuff, so below the operating system, below the hypervisor. And then I said that, well, you know that the problem with Spectre and Meltdown originally was exactly this, that they operated in such a low level that they affect everyone and they can go past the hypervisor borders, and I mean, that's just skips all protections and you can't detect it. And then I was just like, and I have to like congratulate, of course, these were two Austrian guys, so two Austrian guys found Spectre and Meltdown. So and then one guy was like hand up and he's like so eager to say something. I was like, you have a comment? Yes. I want to tell you that I work with the research nuclear reactor that we have in Vienna. We don't use it for production, but we use it for research. So I want to tell you that it is not vulnerable to Spectre or Meltdown. And I was like, I'm happy to hear that, especially for the Meltdown, which sounds really bad in this context. But I'm like, Spectre and Meltdown are CPU cache level issues. How are they not affected? They all run Windows 3.11. There's no virtual memory there. I'm not sure if I'm happy that they're not vulnerable to Spectre or Meltdown, or am I gonna just get the next flight
I
out?
have to take my flight now.
So I totally agree, and that's why what I tried to tell today on the session. I don't want to be preaching and saying like, hey, you down there, you need to patch faster. Everyone is patched up to date in 2 days. I'm like, no, I understand this. I run a factory myself. I totally get this. We got XP running. We got a Windows Server 2003 running there. They're not going away. I can get update for these. We use these cutting machines. They're 250,000 euros each. There's 3 of them. I can replace them as soon as there is a business need or a justification that if we replace these cutting machines and the new cutting machines produce more clothing faster, better quality, whatever, then it will go through. Like you now see it, every hospital around Europe has now finally updated those X-ray machines. They got rid of the old one that ran XP. Now it runs Windows 10, which is okay. It's 2 days, 3 days. But anyway, but that only happened when X-rays moved to digital photography. Up to that, there was no reason to change them. But when you had those in digital format suddenly, which makes the doctor's work so much easier and faster, they all got replaced. So if there is business justification for that, then
there's different incentives for updating than just having the newest and latest.
Until that, it maybe hits you or not, but just...
Fabian, you mentioned Windows 3.1, 3.11.
Are you old? Is that the question?
No, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Is there another, or maybe a most unusual or surprising Windows security issue that you have ever encountered in relation to what we're discussing?
Security issue in Windows that it was surprising.
Yeah.
They
are not surprising, probably, but
I think there were in the history of Windows a few that were very surprising. I think way back it was like entering CCON and bye-bye, your machine was gone, or even the remote machine that you entered it in. And I think in recent years, it's not that there's like this big super hole. Okay, we had like those
CrowdStrike shutting down half of the internet.
Yeah, but this was not a vulnerability.
No,
that was bad software in the
no,
moment. And I think the blue, what was it called? The NSA thing, blue something.
Blue.
I think we all know this was like, okay, this is a known vulnerability. They could like RCE into every machine, and
Eternal
it was
Blue.
Eternal Blue, yeah.
Eternal Blue, yeah.
But is it really surprising? No, I think that we have software, it has vulnerabilities, there will always be something like that. So in our whole risk assessment, we should always cover that. So this is only like one part of the whole pie, having an operating system that has maybe a vulnerability. So you always should layer up, and in my talk on Monday I explained the same for like conditional access. Don't just have one policy and you are done for. No, have multiple layers, and this will then close different holes in the other layers that will help you. And the same is true for an operating system. If you just put a machine on the internet, somebody will pop it eventually, but put something in front. Even like, why don't we have this worms anymore that we had in the early times of the internet?
Plaster.
It's mostly not because people are patching, it's mostly because we have a NAT router in front of it and you cannot just reach the machine anymore.
Right.
True that.
Yeah. One last question. You both are traveling the world, giving sessions all over places and that kind of stuff. And Sami, you have done that for quite a long time already.
That's why he's senior fellow.
Yeah. And
Senior technical fellow.
Oh, sorry.
and I generated some questions for you guys.
Okay.
So I'm using AI as well, but that says that you the highest rated sessions worldwide. That you have some of the highest rated sessions worldwide. What's the secret to making technical content engaging? So how is that? Make it funny? Is that? You mentioned it.
I won Microsoft Ignite in 2018 with a session that was entitled "How to Build a Conference Winning Session." So this would take 75 minutes for me to explain this. So I'm trying to figure out what are the most important ones. You have to speak about something you love. You can't win a conference by speaking on a topic you don't care about. Every people catch it, whether they know it or not, they all understand that you don't like the topic that you're talking about. That shows through instantly. You should always, if you want to get to like a big conference like Ignite, which had 1,708 sessions, if you want to get into top 100, you can get into top 100 by being superbly talented in the technical topic you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you know everything. But then if you want to get into top 10, then it needs to be a show. That's more of the difference there. You can do a technical session, get into top 100 easily, but top 10, especially in US, even more than anywhere else, it needs to be a show. And I always go behind this. My morale here is fine because I honestly believe, that's just like, I always joke about this, that I've done this extensive research that people actually learn more if they're awake. It's like...
Well, how long did it take you?
It took me a long time to research this. But anyway, so I think that I always tell people, if I can choose that you got technical content of 25% of the topic and 75% would be more like stories and jokes and whatever, if I can get that 25% through to you, that's still better than having a session that you get like 10% out of because it's so dead boring that you don't care and you're going to take your mobile phone, you're going to start surfing, you can't concentrate. Those would probably be the top tips.
Or you just bring a hedgehog to your session.
Well, that helps. No, it was a part of that session, yes. But that was the demo part. A good demo can win a good demo can win a conference.
That was insane.
That was what I was trying to show. Plus, it was freaking funny to do MFA with a live hedgehog.
And be thrown out of the conference.
Yeah, or that's as I said, 75 minutes is required. Oh, but hey, there's a tip. Go and search online. That actually is recorded. So there is a session. There. How to build a conference-winning technical session. That's there.
How's that for you, Fabian? Is that more or less the same?
So I will go out now and look this session.
Okay. So we will do that together.
Yeah, but I think if you want to deliver an entertaining session, and then it's something that people actually can follow. You need to have a bit of a story in there. I think I'm currently still more on the technical side, but even then you should have something in there that leads them through beginning to end, otherwise they will fall asleep in your session.
Yeah. So hopefully the people are watching this are not have not fallen asleep. So, but we are we are ending up. So thanks for joining, guys. To be here on the conference, be here in the recording. It's really awesome to have you guys here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having
It was
me.
great.
And this was the last recording for today. So tomorrow at 10 we will be back with a new recording of the keynote speaker. So Daniel van Buren, is that the CTO of?
He is, yeah. I think country CTO.
Yeah, the country CTO of Switzerland. So he
Yeah.
will do the keynote, and afterwards we will talk with him
Yep.
on the session that he has delivered. So keep an eye on the live stream, but also on the recordings that are coming up to see what he is telling us. I say with that, until next time. Thank
Looking
you.
forward. Thanks.
Thanks for joining the Workplace Ninja podcast. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep sharpening your ninja skills. Until next time.